telling your story to the world. Jack Sim, founder of the World Toilet Organization, aka Mr. Toilet, spends his life on the road telling toilet jokes. His shtick is generally composed of puns about defecation combined with earnest stories about disease and death. My mission, he told the audience at the 2014 Philanthropreneurship Forum, is to create a movement. The audience enjoyed the pun. Jack is a modern incarnation of one of Shakespeare's wise fools. He's an amusing storyteller with a very serious underlying message. He shares his story in a shocking, funny, and provocative way to give it impact and stickiness. The basis of the story is very unfunny. About 41% of the world still lives without access to latrines or other basic sanitation facilities. In too many countries, raw sewage runs through villages and towns, threatening the groundwater and spreading disease. Even in the developed world, many cities don't have enough public toilets, and too many of the ones that exist are run down, unsanitary, and unsafe. Thanks to Jack's gift, he has been able to scale the WTO, the World Toilet Organization, intentionally to be confused with the World Trade Organization, into a concern that has gained the recognition of the UN. His storytelling recipe is a mixture of his own personal charm, authenticity, and a wacky sense of humor that takes good advantage of every toilet joke there is. That, and a deep and serious devotion to a very important and dramatic story, accompanied by powerful animated visuals. He shows how, in a developing country, the buzzing fly that lands on your delicious salad may have just eaten from the untoileted feces of your neighbor, and how thousands die every day because they and their neighbors relieve themselves in the same water they drink. In telling his tale, Jack mixes light and dark, humor and suffering, to grab his audience's attention and show how all of us, regardless of station, are connected in the most fundamental ways. Jack's story has universal appeal because, as he insists, we all need to go. That biological need is a common denominator that unites us all. But when he's sharing the story with people he doesn't know, beneficiaries, partners, thought leaders, funders, and others in the big, wide world, he also designs a story to befit each different audience. I transform profound philosophies about the right to toilets into simple soundbites that usually work very well with people, Jack says. I try to tell a plain-spoken story that resonates strongly with each stakeholder in a way that is irreproachable. In short, I do it by calling a spade a spade. 3. Jack is a shining example of the power of sharing your story with the world. Tailoring your story to fit your listeners' what's in it for me interests is also crucial for getting where you want to go. As I like to say, you need to use different horses for different courses. Here is a simple example of how knowing your audience will inspire different stories. At Sagia, we told different investors different stories in persuading them to do business in Saudi Arabia, a strange, foreign place they'd never before considered exploring. For manufacturing companies that needed to use raw materials derived from oil, our story focused on their need for cost-effective energy. Our pitch, in response to understanding their needs, went something like this. Saudi Arabia is the energy capital of the world. By putting your plant in Saudi Arabia, you will have a global launchpad and the most cost-effective location in the world for making your products. Think of the regional potential. Did you know that Saudi Arabia has a history of huge investment in the entire energy value chain, including petrochemicals and downstream? Quote, other companies told us that they needed to expand their access to global markets. One multinational corporation was keenly interested in the fact that there were 250 million hungry consumers living within a 3-hour flying radius from the center of the country. They were also persuaded by the fact that, as the home of the 2 most holy sites in Islam, the cities of Mecca and Medina. The country is the geographical heartbeat of the world's 1.2 billion Muslims, 20% of the global population. All these people would naturally have a preference for products and services that were both compliant with the laws of Islam and were produced in and supplied from Saudi Arabia. On the basis of that and other information, several companies set up plants in the country.